Superhero Talk. This is a show that we used to do on Apocalypse Movies. It was a podcast before where we talk all about comic book movies and superheroes and stuff like that. But we're bringing the show back and we have some new things to get into, some new segments that we're going to do. Before I get started, I would like to introduce myself and the people I'm with. I am Jacob Bartley, the host of this show, and I'm with Gio Ramos and Jake Berlin. What's going on, guys?
Wonder Woman.
Yeah, if you can't tell, we might talk about Wonder Woman today.
That's the theme.
Yeah, for sure. So basically for this show, we're going to have an overall theme each week. For this week, it's going to be Wonder Woman and basically female superhero movies and the DCEU and what that means. And then we're going to talk about comic book movie news, whatever the biggest stories are going on in these 2 weeks. And then we have a comic book segment where I talk about the comic books that were released that week. It's not going to be long, just a few suggestions on what you should be reading and what I liked and what I didn't like that came out that week. And then we have our final segment, which we're calling Gio's Rant. Or
unofficially.
Yeah, we're working on a title, but maybe like the state of certain situations going on in the comic book world of movies. But without further ado, let's jump into it. So our theme this week is Wonder Woman. We've all seen the film. We're putting up our spoilers review. You can go check that out on our YouTube channel. But we're just going to talk about our general thoughts of the film and then talk about what this means for the DCEU, the comic book movie genre, and female superheroes going forward. So, I mean, we talked about it on our spoilers review. We all enjoyed the movie. Mm-hmm. I loved it. Gio really liked it. Jake liked it. Overall, it's getting great reviews. This is a huge win for DC, in my opinion, for sure.
It is. I totally agree. It is a win. I think letting Patty Jenkins do her thing in this film, it's evident that Warner Bros. Kind of stepped back.
Exactly.
Let her do her thing.
That's a great sign. And
thankfully they did that, because if this movie didn't do well, they would have been in some major trouble, even though Justice League is around the corner.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoyed it. We talked about it. The action's a highlight. The chemistry between Chris Pine and Gal Gadot is the highlight. There's so many things to like from this movie. For others, there's so many things to love for this movie. And so it's definitely something you want to go check out opening weekend, with whoever it is, too. You can go with anybody, because it's a movie that you guys can all enjoy. So.
For sure. The families can go to this movie. Like, I wouldn't say that about BVS, really,
God, no.
So,
or Suicide Squad.
So, like, yeah, it's definitely, like, the most family-friendly film the DCU has put out. And that's a great thing, because at box office-wise and just overall general reception, that's going to be really good for it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the 75th anniversary of Wonder Woman this year?
Yep.
I believe so.
Yep.
This movie does Wonder Woman justice. It's been a movie a long time coming.
No pun intended.
It's really well directed, really well acted. Strong supporting cast. Has the type of action that you'd want to see from a Wonder Woman movie. It has the humor that you've been looking from a DCEU movie. And all around, it's just really enjoyable. Whether you're a fan of Marvel, DC, whatever, go watch this movie. It's not only important for the genre, it's just it's a movie that this world could really use right now. And I don't mean to get all political or anything like that, but it's a movie that's for everyone. So go watch it and pick up one of these, because I want one right now. Okay? I'm gonna buy it off of you when this video's over. Okay?
Yeah, I just think it's great overall for DC that this movie hit. Like. Mm-hmm. It's not a masterpiece, but all they needed was a win. They needed a solid movie that's going to put them on the right track. Even if story-wise, like, this is so far away from Justice League or BVS, it still puts in the public's mind that, oh, that was a DC film that was good. Yes, now I'm looking forward to the next DC film. So I think in that sense, it really helped DC and Warner Bros. Overall as far as their image, because they've had such a problem these past couple of years, like, getting it right. Like, even Man of Steel, like, people like Gio and I really love that movie, but overall, generally, it's not critically loved. It's like about 53% on Rotten Tomatoes.
It's not so much family friendly
either.
It's
not.
I mean,
so,
it snaps someone's neck at the end of the
I think, even though I think Justice League is going to be more in the tone of Man of Steel and BVS, but I think this is just on the right track. Like, we can get different style movies in the DCEU. Like, I think Aquaman's going to be different than either of these films. So I just think it's a really it generates positive buzz for DC, and that's what I take away.
Oh yeah,
from it
you
for
think
sure.
you think Marvel's not happy that this movie's
Of course they are
gonna do well?
There was a meme going around with Wonder Woman's Rotten Tomato score, and then it was Robert Downey Jr. saying yes, and Chris Pratt saying yes, and all these heroes in the Marvel Cinematic Universe because they want the rivalry. It was
why not?
Well, the caption was finally some competition. And,
there you go.
so
Yeah,
that's what they want.
and that's great for like future female superhero movie films. Like this is nothing but good for Captain Marvel.
Absolutely,
because people are going to see like, oh, Marvel's doing a female superhero now,
or maybe even a Black Widow movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like this very much helps female superheroes in general, and I think Wonder Woman is a movie where, like, even if you're not a fan of superhero movies, like, I think Wonder Woman transcends the superhero genre. Like, the character and this movie. Like, you can... People that aren't into the DCEU, people that maybe don't even like Marvel movies, I think they can go to this movie because it's so important and take something away from it. Because I think Wonder Woman is such an iconic character. It's like this is... You know, similar to like the Superman movie coming out in the 70s. Like, this is the very first Wonder Woman movie, and it's something special, and I think it's something that everybody should go see, honestly. Even if it's not the greatest movie in the world, it's something that everyone should see, in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. You can tell he's very passionate.
So what do you guys think about the future of female superhero movies? Like, we know Captain Marvel's coming, and that's most likely going to be a success because it's Marvel. What do you guys see?
That movie
like
is gonna flipping crush.
Yeah, I think so too. So what do you guys feel like after Captain Marvel? Do you guys see any potential for the female superhero genre going forward?
I think they're gonna fast track Batgirl. Honestly, Joss
right,
Whedon's already working on it. I mean, he's doing reshoots right now for Justice League, but Warner Brothers now they're like, okay, all right, Joss Whedon, you're not only a great filmmaker, but we saw how the audience responded to Wonder Woman. They're ready for these kind of movies. Let's bring that forward. So you're gonna have Captain Marvel. You're gonna have Batgirl. I think we're talking later on about Silver and Black, which is
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
it's picking up traction. It's picking up momentum.
There's one that I'll get into later, but I'm gonna throw this out there now. Spider-Woman.
Yeah, I'll
explain why
in that story. Yeah, I think Captain Marvel's gonna blow people away. Like that's it. I don't care if it's better or worse than Wonder Woman. I just think it's a different style of female superhero.
It's a completely different kind of movie.
Exactly. So people are going to compare them no matter what, but I think it can stand on its own. It doesn't have to be compared. And then I think a Black Widow movie is definitely possible, especially like...
Scarlett Johansson's been around for so long in this universe.
If you read some of the comic book runs with Black Widow in it, or just stories that have Black Widow in it, there's so much you could do with that character.
You could do a Black Widow Hawkeye movie.
You could do a Black Widow movie that has like a $60 million budget if you really wanted to, and
it's a spy
movie. It's gonna make $300 million worldwide at least, you know. And you could have a cameo with like a Falcon or somebody like that, you know.
And she doesn't have superpowers. It's just a spy.
That's what
thriller.
I love about her.
It's a spy thriller movie.
Yeah, I would definitely love to see her and Hawkeye in a movie together, especially because they're best friends.
It's a Captain America: The Winter Soldier-esque movie where it's spy thriller, it's grounded, it's real life stuff going on,
and it has to be a situation where she's maybe isolated from the Avengers, and
like she's on some kind of mission, like maybe the Budapest mission they talked about in the Avengers. Like it's a previous mission with Hawkeye and Black Widow or something.
Yeah, I mean a prequel would be tough because age-wise, but they could do it. They could definitely do it. But yeah, I just think this is overall great for the superhero genre, like regardless of DC, Marvel, or anything.
Film in general.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
Film in general.
It transcends the genre. It just movies in general. This is a great success. Even if even if you just think it's a solid movie, it's a step in the right direction overall, in my opinion.
Well, you have a female lead who's not only Wonder Woman, just a female lead. Yeah. You have a female director. You know, there's all the themes without early World War I when women were considered to stay in the house and raise children.
And like, I know Gal Gadot, her skin is pale, she's Caucasian, but she's Israeli. Like, that's something different too, you know? So you have like a non-American female-led superhero film that's succeeding very, very much so. Alright, well, unless you guys have any more thoughts, we'll move on to the comic book movie news segment. So this is where we talk about some of the biggest comic book movie news going on in the past 2 weeks. Now, this show is bi-weekly, so we're going to accumulate the news stories from the past 2 weeks. There has not been a lot this past 2 weeks.
Everything's been centered on Wonder Woman.
I had to struggle to find some news stories here. So we got some stuff. So first up, we got Aquaman taking place after Justice League. So with most of the characters of the DCEU not receiving standalone adventures until after the events of Justice League, we've never been 100% positive on which movies will precede those events. Wonder Woman will tell the beginning of Diana Prince traveling back to World War I to do so. Arthur Curry, aka Aquaman, looks to be a huge part of Justice League, but will be his solo movie directed by James Wan. Will it go back to his roots? According to producer Charles Roven, it won't. While at an event for Wonder Woman, CinemaBlend caught up with the producer, where he had this to say about Wan's film. Aquaman will make reference to Justice League. There will be some reference to something that preceded Aquaman that will be in Aquaman. I believe that is the intention. James Wan definitely knows where he's going with Aquaman, and that movie takes place in a world where Justice League happened and Man of Steel happened, and Wonder Woman obviously takes place before Man of Steel, except for the bookends we have. So that's where we have the most ability to freeform. We could do a movie that takes place after Justice League. We could do a movie that takes place after BVS. Well, not really. You can't do a movie in between Batman v Superman and Justice League, but we can do movies that take place after Justice League, and we can do movies that precede Justice League. So, Gio, you hear Roven's comments. Does this make sense to you at all regarding Aquaman and where it's going to take place?
It makes absolute sense, honestly, and I do like this direction because you're gonna get introduced to Aquaman in Justice League. You're gonna meet him in a team up film, and so far the consensus has been like Aquaman has been the takeaway from the Justice League promotional material. Whether he's jumping on a Batmobile while it's riding and, going to take on some parademons, or, he's saving someone, the opening shot of Justice League, the trailer with him just,
Drinking alcohol.
Hell yeah, I like that. But, I mean, it makes sense. He's going to already be Aquaman when he appears in Justice League. And then, according to something I read, the Aquaman solo movie is going to be like a swashbuckler kind of an action adventure. It's going to get Aquaman his test, his loyalty for the Atlanteans as opposed to the land people. That's a big part of the comic books, the storylines. So it absolutely makes sense. I can't wait to see it. This is great for as far as like the DCEU, like something else that we have to look forward to. Like Wonder Woman's a hit. We'll see about Justice League, but Aquaman, that's like the new thing to look forward to in the DCEU because it's been good so far.
Yeah, for me it makes sense. I mean, I think we're gonna get some origin. Like we're gonna see like his mother. Obviously, Nicole Kidman's playing his mother. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see I think 15% of the movie is gonna be origin stuff,
flashbacks,
and then the rest is gonna be post Justice League, and I think that's great because we got this Wonder Woman film that took place a while ago. I don't want Aquaman to take place, in the 50s or whenever it's going to take place. I want the story to move forward after Justice League. Like, how does he deal with, fighting with these heroes on the land and then going back to Atlantis? Like, are they going to trust him? Like, oh, you betrayed us, like that, and that could set up the storyline for the villain, or like even a future Justice League villain with Ocean Master. So. Mm-hmm. I love that it's going to take place after Justice League. I think it makes a lot of sense because I want to see stories move forward, unless it's a situation like Wonder Woman where you can tell a badass story in World War I. So
no, this is the only way it makes sense to me. I wouldn't want to see it would be considered a Justice League prequel where they go back to his roots.
Exactly, yeah.
Wonder Woman, and it makes the most sense. We saw him for the split 5 seconds in Justice League or in Batman v Superman. We're going to see him full blown in Justice League. Why go back after seeing him on screen twice already? Mm-hmm. Just tell the story, continue the story on. It's a universe. Just go in order. They'll have flashbacks or the first part of the movie or whatever, telling his story, seeing Arthur Curry how it becomes Aquaman. But I wouldn't want to see an origin story for him. Just tell the story as it is. Follow the line. So
yeah, definitely. All right, well, moving on to another movie news story that might not be as exciting. So the movie titled Silver and Black, which will feature Silver Sable and Black Cat from the Spider-Man universe, is going to be directed by Gina Prince Bythewood. So Spider-Man is currently kicking butt alongside the Avengers and Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that isn't stopping Sony from trying to spark up their own universe. A few weeks back brought the news that a movie focusing on Silver Sable and Black Cat is officially in development. Now, not only does the film have a new title, Silver and Black, but a director as well. Love and Basketball and The Secret Life of Bees director Gina Prince Bythewood has been tapped to helm the project. But that's not all. With the news of a director, a whole bunch of new rumored story details have been revealed. Again, these are just rumors, but Splash Report is saying that the story could feature other major Spidey characters like Jessica Drew, aka Spider-Man, Kraven the Hunter, the Chameleon, Tombstone, Robot Master, and of course Norman Osborn. Alright, Jake, that's a lot to take in. So first off, what do you think of the idea of this movie in general and its director? And second, do you think the rumors are true at all about the other characters?
So I don't know much about the director. I haven't seen any of her films. I can't really say much because I haven't seen them, obviously. But it sounds like she could be a good choice at something different. And we've seen with comic book movies time and time again that different directors do good on these films. You know, the Russo brothers. You know, you had Peyton Reed. Even Edgar Wright was doing Ant-Man for such a long time, and that would have been a different film as well. So I'm not going to say anything until I see the film or a trailer or whatever it is. But as for the concept of the movie, I just don't think it fits. It's an odd choice for Sony to go with their first movie inside this universe. That's if it comes out before the Venom movie with Tom Hardy. It sounds like Sony's going to do a, like you had said in the notes, a Spider-Man-less universe.
That's what I'm calling it.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man-less Spider-Man universe.
Yeah, it's odd, but here's the thing. I was thinking about it, and if these rumors end up being true and we see Jessica Drew, who is Spider-Woman in these movies, what if Sony pulls a fast one on us and instead of focusing on Spider-Man, it's Spider-Woman that's the lead in this universe? And then everything focuses around her. They let Spider-Man be in the Marvel side of everything with their universe. They bring in Spider-Woman as their protagonist in all these movies where she's the one getting bit by this, or whatever her origin is, like she's the focus, she's the one that all these villains have to worry about, and Spider-Man does his own things. Sony gets profits from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they get profits from the Spider-Woman universe. I mean, it's a huge possibility. I would personally, if they announced that, I would be completely on board. 100% on board. That's if they did it right. We've seen Sony try to fast-track a universe in the past, and it just hasn't worked out well. Yeah. It sounds like this movie could almost be that, because you have Kraven the Hunter, Spider-Woman, all these other villains in there like Norman Osborn and whatnot. Hopefully they're just small cameos, nothing major, because I think it would just be too much. But I think if they focus this universe on Spider-Woman rather than Spider-Man and let her kind of have her time, I think it'd be brilliant. Whether it's going to happen or not, I'm not sure, but I would love to see it. So,
yeah, I would love to see it. First, let me talk about the director. The only movie I've seen from her is Love and Basketball. That's a movie I saw like as a kid like 30 times because my aunts and my mom, they were all in love with that movie. So I know that movie very well. Actually,
I didn't know a woman directed that.
It's a good movie.
Cool. I heard it's a good movie. I watched it when I was a kid, but I do not remember it, so I can't say.
And Jake, you have a point about these directors stepping into the genre. They've never made a movie like that before. I was just thinking about before Wonder Woman, this news would have sounded odd, but then I think back to the Russos, and now Patty Jenkins just proved it with Wonder Woman, and she hasn't directed a movie in like 14 years, and then she comes out with this, wow. So the whole thing about an indie director or someone stepping in and that being questionable, that argument's put laid to rest. It's no longer valid in my opinion.
It's almost a good thing nowadays.
It's almost a good thing, yeah. So as far as the rumors, I don't know, man. I want Norman Osborn to be in the MCU. I mean, I want to see the Oscorp Tower, a few miles away.
I want to see Norman Osborn and Tony Stark interact,
right?
Something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, I do want to see Spider-Woman in the universe, but if they're going to focus on Venom, I'd rather see Venom with Spider-Man, it's just...
Yeah, I understand.
How do you guys feel about that? I mean...
I would... if they're not going to do Spider-Man, all these things are saying, or speculation is that Sony's not going to use Spider-Man in this universe. It's a separate universe.
At all, yeah.
Venom has to go, he goes hand in hand with Spider-Man. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
Period. What if he's not actually Venom? What if he's actually Agent Venom?
Agent
Yeah,
Venom.
I mean,
Okay.
there's so many different iterations of Venom.
What if he's not the alien version of Venom?
He's-
What if he's an actual different version of Venom?
So
I mean, that's
Agent,
cool.
So for those who aren't aware, Agent Venom is
He's like
real
a
quick. He's like a
he's like an anti-hero in a way.
Okay.
He's
No,
almost
that's
like a Punisher.
That's definitely what they're going to go for.
Yeah,
They're-
he's like a
He's not going to be a
Punisher-like.
straight up villain.
No.
He might like kill some people at first, but he's going to be an anti-hero. He's
he's
gonna
like
be
a Punisher-like character.
Deadpool type
So,
character, you know.
he's controlled by the government, I assume. Like
Well, he works for
Agent
S.H.I.E.L.D..
Venom.
He does work
He
for
works
S.H.I.E.L.D.
for
at one
S.H.I.E.L.D.
point.
So
yeah.
he's like, he's the only familiarity I have with Agent Venom is from the cartoon show.
Cartoon shows
on Disney
good,
XD, and he's I think it's what's his name? Who's the bully from Spider-Man's high school?
Yeah, Flash.
Flash. It's Flash
Thompson,
Thompson.
yeah.
So I mean, I know they're going with Eddie Brock, but who knows?
Is that
man?
confirmed? Eddie Brock?
I think it is that Tom Hardy's
Okay.
playing Eddie Brock.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% positive. Don't quote me on that. But I love your idea about Jessica Drew. Like, that would be amazing. Like, my whole mind just exploded when you were talking about that because that is perfect. I would love to see, Tom Holland be in this universe.
Yes,
but
by
if
far,
that's not
yes.
going to happen, I want to see them either do one of three things. Either Jessica Drew or Spider-Gwen, who's actually
Spider-Gwen,
really popular
yeah.
in the comics.
She is.
Or Miles Morales.
Well, Miles Morales is in the animated movie.
Yeah, but who knows? They could bring him into live action. I think one of those three options, or all three. Why not? You could have a Spider.
You could have Miles Morales and Spider-Woman together.
Exactly. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I kind of like this idea. Like, if this works out, if these movies end up being good, then that's just more comic book movies for us to love. So on that end, like, it's not a negative. But this is just weird. Like, all right, so I don't know much about this director. Her films have gotten good responses, like Secret Life of Bees, and hasn't got as great responses. But Love and Basketball, people love that movie. So
Cole.
and it's a female director. Like, I'm sure Wonder Woman has something to do with this. Like, of course, with Wonder Woman's success, they're going to do this. Mm-hmm. So I can't comment on the director, but the overall idea of the movie, I sell. But the idea of bringing these other side characters like Jessica Drew or other villains, I buy. But I do not want Norman Osborn or Kraven the Hunter to be in this universe.
Yeah,
I want Kraven and Norman to be in the MCU. Kraven is such a, like,
yes.
that is waiting to be made.
Yeah.
Like, him hunting down like, he loves hunting, like, mythical creatures and stuff like that.
I think he's being saved for the sequel.
And if he hears out there's a Spider-Man, like, I want to catch that, So I think there's gold waiting right there. So save him for the MCU. Don't use him in this universe, in my opinion.
See, I'm just worried. I don't know. It's like
It's jam-packed again.
Spider-Man. I mean, Sony. They're announcing all these movies, and there's a reason why Marvel doesn't want any part of it. It's. I mean, they're obviously doing their own universe,
Yeah.
but I think they're just announcing too much. Like, give us a Venom movie first, and I'm even worried about that movie because
No
what if
Spider-Man.
there's no Spider-Man, but what if they're also like, what if that movie is just it takes away from the story because it wants to set up this larger universe? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm a little
Well, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
yeah, and I'm a little worried. I'm not saying it can't work, but right now they're moving a little way too ahead of themselves. And
I was completely against this idea at first, but once they cast Tom Hardy, I'm like, okay, this is serious. Like, they're actually doing it,
mm-hmm.
and somebody like Tom Hardy, who's one of the top 5 actors working today, joined this project. So I think that's a very good sign. And if they bring in some characters like Jessica Drew or Spider-Gwen, I think that would be great.
Spider-Gwen would be very interesting. That name, Spider-Gwen, is just odd. Can you imagine that on a movie title? Spider-Gwen.
I know, and it's like people aren't that, like, the general public aren't that
Well,
familiar
she's more
with
recent.
Gwen Stacy,
She's
though.
very... Well, this whole Spider-Gwen
Well,
thing is very recent.
they need to wait on that because
for sure.
we're just like 2-3 years away from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Well, it's weird.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, in the comics, I think Spider-Gwen comes from an alternate universe. Like, she gets brought to the normal Earth from an alternate universe, so it's not actually the Gwen Stacy that Peter Parker.
The original Gwen Stacy that
it's
died.
It's
this
a
one
different, it's
came
an alternate
back.
universe,
Yeah.
which this could be an alternate universe from the MCU. And
Yeah.
if they wanted to eventually cross paths somehow, they could do it. All right, well, moving on to a different comic book property. It has to do with the X-Men universe. So, while the main X-Men storyline tried to find its niche without Bryan Singer, it seems the new spin-off from The Fault in Our Stars director Joss Boone titled New Mutants is chugging along with ease. The film recently cast Macy Williams of Game of Thrones as Wolfsbane and Anya Taylor-Joy of Split as Magic. Now we can add another to the list. Thanks to The Hollywood Reporter, we've learned that Stranger Things' Charlie Heaton has won the spot of Cannonball, one of the more popular characters of the New Mutants team. It's also worth noting that Marvel Netflix star Rosario Dawson was recently brought on board to play a mentor-type figure to the group of young mutants, with THR theorizing the role could be Dr. Cecilia Reyes, a medical doctor who has the ability to generate a protective biofield around herself.
Night Nurse?
Maybe. Go ahead.
I love Rosario Dawson. She's great. But if she gets cast as another doctor, I'm gonna be like, oh god.
But she has powers.
Sure.
It's a step up.
Yeah,
And then maybe the next one she has force powers like Ahsoka Tano.
I was just gonna say that. So she just keeps moving up,
Yeah,
moving
one
up.
step at a time.
Yeah.
One step at a time.
I don't know if I was supposed to go first, but I'll go. Anyway, I've never seen. Have you guys seen Stranger Things?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I've been
so let's
in
just
over.
get me out of the way. My
Game
opinion doesn't
over.
mean it doesn't.
I mean, that's not the only story here.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen Stranger Things yet. Okay, so I'll check it out. But I do love the New Mutants. The idea behind it. A young adult. Now they're saying it's gonna be a little bit of a horror kind of thing now.
So-
They say they're going horror.
Yeah, the
straight
rumor
up
is
horror.
that like they're basically captured and they're dealing with their own powers while trying to escape.
Oh, so it's kind of like Legion in a way. You know how Legion started off?
Yeah,
like,
in a
you know,
way.
yeah.
They're experiencing their powers and it's becoming like a horror movie where they're basically trying to escape from wherever they are, wherever they're
Like
captured,
what
whatever.
Fantastic Four should have been.
Yeah, yes, I can do that. But I love Anya Taylor-Joy. I like that, they're bringing her in. I mean, considering, what they're going for and what she's done so far. I mean, you couldn't have asked
She
for
is
anything
blowing
better.
up.
Yeah, and as far as Rosario Dawson, I don't know. I guess, why not? Sure. Go watch Wonder Woman, okay? All right.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, I'm familiar with the actor from Stranger Things. He's good. I think he's good. I mean, as far as young actors go,
It's a very laid back role. The role he plays.
Oh yeah, but he's one of my favorite characters
Yeah.
on Stranger Things, honestly, because he, I think he's not really cliche or anything like that. So I like that actor. It's the only thing I've seen him in. So
Well, Cannibal is an interesting choice because he's like the central part of the New Mutants team.
oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be really cool. And Rosario Dawson, she's great in anything she does, and why not? Like she's getting paid to do this. Like she's making millions of dollars. She probably enjoys it. She finally gets to have superpowers. Why not? I mean, I think she deserves a more prominent role in a franchise or something like that. Like maybe in a Ahsoka Tano or something like that. But she's only moving up with this role, I think, in my opinion. I don't think it's official yet that she's cast, is it?
I think it's official.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure it's official.
Yeah. So
No,
those are my thoughts.
I'm okay with it because it's a mentor role to me. She's gonna play like an Xavier type role.
Yeah, and have powers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Charlie Heaton, he was Stranger Things is like, in my opinion, can do no wrong. It's like a fantastic series. Everything in that series is just phenomenal. So definitely plus on that. Anya Taylor-Joy as Magic, I love it. More people will recognize her from Split, but we saw her in The Witch a couple
That's
years
right,
ago.
yeah.
When she was
That
a
was the
little bit
first time
younger.
we saw her, yeah.
And she's been blowing up over the past few years, so that's definitely a plus. And nobody's mentioned, but Maisie Williams, man, from Game of Thrones, she plays
great.
Arya Stark. I love that she's getting a bigger role in mainstream movies, not just on a gigantic TV show.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones is sadly coming to an end in the next few years, so I'm glad to see her kind of pick up a franchise and hopefully play a character for a number of years going forward. I'm very intrigued by this movie. It's a New Mutants thing is kind of cool. I figured that the X-Men storyline, the main movies would have ended with Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Apocalypse.
Plug right
Apocalypse.
there. Go check us out.
I figured that it would have ended. It would have been the final of those three prequel movies. They wouldn't have moved forward, but obviously they're doing Dark Phoenix. And then I would have liked to see New Mutants kind of be this new bread of movies for the X-Men movies and kind of move forward and do something completely different with a new set of characters. And they're going to do both. You have Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, but I'm intrigued because it's Wolfsbane, Magic, which Magic is the sister of Colossus, or Colossus,
Colossus,
from Deadpool and the X-Men movies, and she's actually a really badass character because she's almost like a Doctor Strange type character.
Oh wow! Oh yeah,
dimensions
that's right. Yeah,
and all this
yeah.
type of stuff. And so
doesn't she have a sword or something like
she has
that?
a giant fiery blue sword.
Nice.
And then you throw in a Cannonball, which Cannonball is just a badass name, but he's actually a really cool character with a really cool outfit. He's like goggles and stuff. And so yeah, I'm really intrigued by this movie. Josh Boone, I only know him from The Fault in Our Stars. The movie was good. It's a very different type of movie, but again, like we talked about recently, jump on a comic movie, and these directors who aren't used to this genre, they're usually good in this type of movie. And the X-Men movies, Matthew Vaughn did First Class, crushed. Then Bryan Singer came back. So Fox has done a really good job of picking directors, not just for X-Men movies, but overall period. Like Matt Reeves with the Planet of the Apes movies.
Tim Miller.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds
James
of stuff
Mangold.
going on. So I'm very intrigued by this movie. I look forward to seeing who else they bring into this team and which other actresses they bring on board. Like there was that one rumored from 13 Reasons Why. I don't know her name.
Oh, that's right.
She was rumored for, I think it was Sunspot.
Yeah. It was actually a male actor.
It is a male actor?
He's of
Okay.
Hispanic descent or something
Oh, okay,
like that.
cool. Yeah, so they're getting, there's a few known actors, the three from
Well, they're pulling from all these like popular things.
Exactly.
And it's hard to find young established actors, and most of them are on TV right now. So I love where they're Stranger Things, Game of Thrones,
a lot of people are going to know Macy Williams.
13 Reasons Why,
Exactly.
it's like all these shows that are, these actors have eyeballs on them, so it's a good move overall.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I'm really excited for the X-Men universe. Like if you think about it, they're killing it. Look, Deadpool and Logan. I know Apocalypse was a miss, but I mean it didn't lose money.
Dark
for
Phoenix
them.
could be a giant plus if
Dark
they
Phoenix
get on
can come
board.
back, and they're probably gonna get a new director for that. So I think the X-Men universe is very, very, very healthy, especially with Deadpool and Logan.
I don't even want to think about the X-Men timeline right now. Or
Oh,
the
it's
universe.
all fucked
You want
up.
to talk
It's
about
all
that?
fucked up.
That's why I wanted it to end with Apocalypse, be New Mutants, and start an entire new thing.
Well, I think I would be fine with that, but I think that young X-Men cast in Apocalypse was great.
Yeah,
and
no, I agree.
But
I agree.
you're saying keep them still going forward, but maybe not have
because
like
remember
that trilogy ended there and move forward.
Days of Future Past, there is no timeline
That's
anymore.
true. Yeah,
It's over.
That's true.
It's over. There's no timeline scrubbles anymore, dude.
It's
done.
Even Days of Future Past, looking back on it, it still doesn't make sense. I mean, it does erase like the continuity from the old ones, but when you think about it, it doesn't actually make sense.
Well, it doesn't make sense with Logan anymore.
Well, yeah, with the Mystique at the end, because Mystique finds
Yeah,
Logan, and it's like,
and
wait
that's
a minute.
kinda just
And then,
I
washed
think
over.
what they're done is like they have multiple timelines going on at once. That's what it is, and why not? I mean, we have the MCU where everything's tight knit and everything's perfect.
The good thing for them is fans like us are the only ones that are worried about it.
Yeah, general audiences don't care
They
at
don't
all.
care.
But I think they found a niche with Logan and Deadpool, and then New Mutants can be a horror film, and then they can have the main X-Men line with Dark Phoenix.
So, do we think that the main X-Men movies and New Mutants are going to interact at all? Like maybe name drop?
Yeah, for
anything?
sure. I think Professor X is going to be in New Mutants.
See, I don't think
That was rumored it's been rumored for a long time.
I don't think it will be. I'm just going to put it out.
I say going forward, I'd say you keep McAvoy and Fassbender as those characters. You keep the young mutants you introduced in Apocalypse, and then you move forward with that. No Mystique. I never want to see Mystique again. At least Jennifer Lawrence Mystique.
Yeah.
I love Jennifer Lawrence, but I'm just done with that
Well,
character.
they made her a hero because of Jennifer Lawrence.
And she had 3 movies focus on her. Like, we're done with her. Let's focus on the young characters. All right, well, moving on to a new segment that we're introducing, like what I like to call This Week in Comics. Now, normally it's going to be comics from the past 2 weeks since this show is bi-weekly, but there was so much that came out this week that I'm only going to talk about what came out this week. And first up is what I'm going to talk about is Wonder Woman Annual #1. This comic right here. I know Gio got a chance to read it, actually, and of course it's coming out with Wonder Woman coming out.
I'll be taking those home very soon.
Yeah, and overall, I love how, because there's like 4 stories in there, and each of them capture different elements of who Diana is, and how kind she is, and how she's going to protect. She believes in justice, and even if you committed a crime, she doesn't believe people should be executed. That she believes in the justice system, and I really love that. There's a story in there where it's Batman and Superman meeting her for the first time. Like, they think they're spying on her, and then she comes up behind them like, why are you guys watching me? Like, it's so fun. And like, spoilers, I guess, for comics, and I might talk minor spoilers with some of these comics, but nothing like huge. But in that one, a moment I loved in that first story is like Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman all grab the lasso of truth, and you can like apparently you can see into someone's soul, like you just feel their overall general like vibe as far as their soul goes, and like.
Well, it's like last night in the movie.
Yeah, exactly.
With Ares.
Yeah, exactly. So, like Wonder Woman, they feel like how pure and good she is, and then like Superman is like. He's who he is, and then Batman's like crazy, you know. So like
he's the psychopath.
After she leaves, you know, Superman's like she just looked into our souls, and Batman's like we just looked into hers too. He's like we have a lot of catching up to do. Like Batman says that about Wonder Woman. So it's like it's how we were talking about earlier. Like she's the best of both worlds, you know. And what's cool about her, she's willing to kill too. There's another story that shows. Wonder Woman doesn't want to kill anyone, but she will kill people, and I love that. Like Batman and Superman try not to. Like I love characters who are like, you know what. Sometimes it's necessary for certain characters to die when it's for the greater good. So those are some of the things I took away from it.
My comparison, I'm always gonna go back, but she's like Cap.
Yeah.
Cap
no, that I was just gonna say, like in Winter Soldier, Cap is kicking the shit out of people. They're flying off the boat. They are not surviving that. No, they're dead. No. But Gio, you read this. What are some of the things that stood out to you?
Yeah, I like this comic book. They're short stories, easy reads, but especially coming off of for me like Wonder Woman, it's really nice to get these little short stories that kind of like give you more of what the movie gave you as far as like, you know, her stance for justice, whether it's, you know, the story regarding King Shark, or, you know, Truth with meeting the Batman and Superman for the first time, and just right away, like, you know, with the lasso, like getting to know who they are. Okay, you guys are good guys. We'll catch up later. We'll talk later. Or the
let's go grab a drink.
It was such a cool story. That first one, I loved it.
And then you mentioned it, like the story about her, you know, willing to, you know, do what's necessary, for the greater good, you know, and
that guy she had to kill.
Yeah, and the two of them kind of have a little history backstory, so it's a really emotional little like 4 or 5 page story that, you know, it just it's really good. So overall, check out the comic book. It's worth getting.
Yeah, and you don't have to have read any of the Wonder Woman stuff before this. These are just 4 little like anthology stories, like different things that just show the type of character that she is, and overall it was great. Something else that I picked up this week is Cable #1. I've been trying to learn as much about Cable as I can now that he's coming in the Deadpool movie, and I gotta say I didn't love this issue. Like it's a good setup, but like I didn't like, I'm not like, oh my goodness, I have to read the next one. So, and I try not to read as many comics.
He works better with Deadpool.
Exactly.
He works better
true.
with Deadpool.
So there's some cool things. There's the time travel element, of course. I love that, and it opens up in like an 1870s Western setting. So that was pretty cool. But just as far as the story and everything like that, I didn't love it. Like I'm not dying to pick up the next issue, but I'm learning stuff I didn't know. This is why I picked up this issue. I didn't know that like his left eye is like a computer thing, and he can see like when he lands in a different time era, it tells him where he's at, what country he's in, what time period it is.
It's like Jarvis.
See, I didn't know that. So
Cyborg Jarvis.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Cable. So if you want to learn about Cable, I definitely recommend picking it up. But as far as like great storytelling, so far it's not great, but I still like enjoyed it, you know? Like,
now, when you're reading it in Cable Talk, were you reading it in Josh Brolin's voice? Or?
You know, I'm starting to imagine Josh Brolin now in this role. I do that a lot. Like when I've already seen an actor play a character, I'll read the comics in their voice. Like Kingpin. Whenever I read Kingpin in the comics, I'm reading Vincent D'Onofrio's voice. So I'm sure I'll do Josh Brolin.
Can you do a Vincent D'Onofrio voice?
No, I can't. I'm horrible at voices. I cannot do one. I wish I could. So the next thing is, this is something I'm loving right now. It's one of the best things in comic book. These next 2 comics I'm going to talk about are
I'll be stealing these very shortly.
Secret Empire. If you have not heard about this is issue 3 that came out.
I'll put images up for this.
I love this storyline so far. I didn't love that issue as much as I've loved the whole thing going as a whole so far, but this whole thing is crazy. If you don't know what's going on, like basically, this is not spoilers, but it's like a synopsis. You know, Captain America has been a Hydra agent. This came out to the public. Like, as far as he knows, he thinks he's been a Hydra agent his whole entire life, and he's set up this secret plan to, you know, basically take over the United States and take over the world. And as strategic as Captain America is, like, that's scary. If he has that power, then we're all effed, because Captain America is the ultimate soldier, ultimate leader. He knows how to strategize and, you know, defeat people, like outsmarting them. And I love, so there's in the Zero issue, there's this thing where he he's so smart because he sets up a plan where he locks Captain Marvel and the Guardians and other cosmic beings, very powerful people, out in space. Like, he tricks Captain Marvel into building a shield around Earth, and he locks her out. And he's like, this will be and they're in communications, and she's like, what are you doing? Let us back in. And he's like, this is the last time we'll ever speak, and hangs up on her. And then she's like, you better hope so. And like, I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, I want to see a movie of this. And then he traps Doctor Strange and a bunch of other powerful heroes in Earth in a dark force bubble on Earth. So what he did is he locked all the powerful people who could defeat him away.
See,
so
this is why he's my favorite character. Wow. Bad or like, good, he's just a badass.
What? Like, that is so
he's
awesome.
Just a badass.
I'm like, please, if you love Captain America, if you love the Marvel characters in general, definitely just pick up the Zero issue. You don't need to read anything else and start from there. You got the Guardians in there. You got Doctor Strange in there. You have the Defenders in there. The Defenders are all locked in that dark force bubble with Doctor Strange. It's so cool, and they could definitely make a movie of this.
I'm watching Daredevil season 2 right now.
Yeah, like, I honestly think they could make a movie of this in 5 years and have the Netflix characters be in it and have that. Because why not? By that time, I think it's like, all right, we've stayed away from it. Let's just do it. Like, you can have them be the ground force level, you know? So I love Secret Empire. It's one of my favorite things going on in comics right now. And arguably my favorite thing going on in comics is not even a superhero comic. It's called Kill or Be Killed. I picked up issue number 9 this week, and I've told you about this, Jake. Ed Brubaker. Oh my goodness.
Brubaker is a genius. Genius. His Captain America run.
I love my superheroes, but this is storytelling on a whole nother level. So the storytelling is great because you get insight into the main character's point of view. Like, he tells things from first person point of view, but then it's also, you see the outside perspective as well. So basically, this guy, he, going back to the very first issue, he is being haunted by this demon, and this demon is telling him, like, so he tries to kill himself, right? And, like, he comes back and he didn't die. And he comes back to his apartment, and then, like, this creature, this demon is haunting him, and it's like, all right, you basically sold your soul. You tried to kill yourself. I kept you alive for one purpose. I need you. He has to murder, like one bad person in a certain amount of time, and if he doesn't, the demon's going to take his soul. So he has to find ways. He has to find certain people to kill, like rapists or people like that, to kill and feed this demon that's haunting him. And the funny thing is, like, we don't know whether he's hallucinating and imagining this demon or if there's actually really this demon there. And I did not describe it. I did not give the story justice, but that whole setup is amazing, and this character just feels so real. And I think, for sure, I can guarantee that we'll make a movie of this one day. Like, it's such a great story. Like, it's amazing. I definitely recommend anyone reading. And it's dark. It has blood. It's rated R, basically. It's mature. That's what it is. And it has, like, naked women. It has blood, and it's not like over the top, you know. Naked women and blood. I'm in. Yeah, and just to close out this week in comics, something I wanted to talk about is the Power Rangers 2017 annual. It came out. And it's just like the Wonder Woman annual, where it had a bunch of little side stories. And if you're a Power Rangers fan, because we're probably not getting a Power Rangers sequel, read the comics, because it's the only way you're going to get your fix. And it's the only way I get my fix, because what it does is it takes the mythology of Power Rangers and puts it in more realistic, more serious settings, where, like, the TV show's cheesy and doesn't, like, it's just funny and dorky. But these comics are great. Like, they take certain characters and, like, tell little backstories on them. And right now in the current run, they have a time travel element in there where, like, 2 of the Rangers travel to a different alternate universe where there's this Lord Drakon, and he's taken over the world, and he's like a mixture of the Green and White Ranger. His suit, it looks so cool.
Wow.
So if you're a Power Rangers fan, I definitely recommend picking up this 2017 annual. There's a bunch of little side stories. And Power Rangers number 15, which came out 2 weeks ago, it was really, really good. You got to see, like, Zordon sit out of time and space and, like, view everything that's going on from a different point of view. And it's really, really cool, especially if you are a fan of Power Rangers. And one of the cool things about the annual, if you know the character Finster from the TV show, Gio, do you remember him? He was the guy who made the putties out of clay, and he would make all the monsters for Rita, the little short, like, demon guy. So they have an origin story for Finster in this 2017 annual, and it's so creepy, and it feels like a horror movie, and it explains how he got involved with Rita and how he ended up becoming her sculptor for all these monsters, and it's really, really cool. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you're a fan. All right, well, that's going to do it for this week in comics. Now let's move on to our final segment, and what are we calling it? I don't know. Gio's Rant, Gio's Corner, this week with Gio. I don't know, but Gio, go ahead and take the floor. He's very passionate about comic book movies, so let's hear what you got.
Very passionate about DC movies.
And that's exactly
sure.
what we're focusing on today. This is the state of the DCEU. Jake, what does your shirt say?
What a lovely day.
Exactly, and what a lovely day it is for the DCEU right now, and DCEU fans who have been waiting for Warner Brothers to finally deliver a movie that is universally loved and accepted. Wonder Woman right here. Warner Brothers, this week I'm gonna give you some props, alright? I'm gonna give you a pat on the back. It's been a rough year for you guys, okay? It's been a rough year for us DC fans. Whether it's filmmakers dropping out, movies getting pushed back, so on and so forth. But Wonder Woman was a movie that really needed to hit. And the only way it could be a hit is if you actually allowed the filmmaker to make their movie, okay? I'm talking about Suicide Squad and how you guys pretty much F David Ayer over on that. Granted, his vision wasn't as perfect as he would have wanted it to be, but nevertheless, you guys hijacked that movie and took it away from him, and now it's the laughingstock. With Wonder Woman, you guys decided to give Patty Jenkins her budget. You took a step back. You said, okay, this is not going to affect the DCEU timeline, so you have creative freedom. And what do you know? You ended up with a movie that Jake Berlin enjoyed. Jake Berlin hasn't been a fan of the DCEU, but it's such a relief to hear him say, this is a movie I actually enjoyed. This is a good movie. And, and Jake Berlin is also one of those, he kind of is one of those, like those fans who are, skeptical about the DCEU, because
they've sucked.
In your opinion, like I've enjoyed we've enjoyed some of the movies here and so on. But I want to give Warner Bros. Props. You guys did a good job. You gave a filmmaker the creative freedom, and they made you a hit movie. What you do with this momentum going forward is going to matter even more. So don't screw it up. Let Joss Whedon finish the Justice League movie. I'm sure he's going to help make it great. And you got James Wan for Aquaman. You guys have some momentum now. Keep going. And don't interfere so much. Let your filmmakers create. Do you guys have anything more you want to add?
That pop vinyl's killing me, dude.
This Wonder Woman.
I think it's tough because, Wonder Woman was great and it was a success, and they let Patty Jenkins direct it. But Justice League was already being filmed before they finished, the post-production on Wonder Woman. So if Wonder Woman is a good sign, I don't think it's going to affect Justice League necessarily. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? It's a mess with Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon. Unfortunately, what happened, we don't know how it's going to end up. It's a difficult situation to get by. But I think after Justice League is when we're going to see the true success and effects of Wonder Woman affect the DCEU going forward, especially with James Wan directing Aquaman. I think they're going to take a similar approach with him as they did with Patty Jenkins, letting him direct this film. And we don't even know what's coming after that, so who knows. But we're probably going to get Suicide Squad 2 and Man of Steel 2 and stuff like that. I mean, I want a Suicide Squad 2 with the right director. Get Mel Gibson or somebody like that. Let's do that and keep the good things about Suicide Squad, like Harley Quinn and Deadshot. But I'm actually kind of more excited for these solo films, because look at Wonder Woman. If they let certain people make this film theirs, then I think they can be successful, like Batgirl. If Joss Whedon is directing Batgirl, which he probably is, especially after all this, I think that can be a huge hit. So this Wonder Woman gets me more excited for standalone films in the DCEU.
And the marketing for Wonder Woman, I mean, did you guys have any problems with it? I didn't have any problems with it.
The trailers were great.
Every trailer hit. It didn't give away too much.
I don't think they did too many, how Spider-Man has freaking 800 TV spots. I don't think Wonder Woman had that many.
No, not at all.
Wonder Woman released a lot of stuff.
Did they? I mean, at the same time, I don't pay attention. I don't watch the TV spots or nothing like that. They released I only watch the major trailers.
Well, they also had to sell this movie too, because
they released a lot of stuff. They did the whole Batman v Superman Suicide Squad. They released a buttload of stuff.
Well, they have
I just
to,
wasn't
yeah.
paying attention.
Yeah. That's just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting going forward. You know, I'm kind of just going back and forth between both of you. It's a good sign for Warner Brothers and DC that Wonder Woman is doing so well. That it's such a different tone and style and feel compared to what we've gotten. But at the same time, one could say, oh, it takes place 7 years before. Maybe they just let Patty Jenkins do that because it doesn't have any continuity with what's going on in present day.
Well, yeah, that's what I mentioned.
And that's kind of what scares me is like, okay, we're going back in time to see this origin movie. Yes, it did super well. It looks great. It feels great. But come November, we're going back to what Batman v Superman was and what Suicide Squad was. And like Jacob had said, this movie has been filmed for so long and they've been doing so much post-production on it. It's like they filmed it during Wonder Woman or even before Wonder Woman. It could be the same exact thing what we're used to with DC over the last year or so. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of what scares me. And if Justice League... Like, I want DC movies to be as good as anybody else does. Like, I've been reading DC comics for a long time. I watch the old school TV shows, you know, where Aquaman is, you know, the fish-friendly guy that he is and all that kind of stuff with the orange and green suit. But if Justice League fails, if it is anywhere near what Batman v Superman was as far as review goes or your general movie-going audience reception, I don't know where the DCEU goes after that. Like, it's a struggle, and yes, a lot of it could be like, say, okay, well, Zack Snyder is now going to take a step back. We're going to get new directors. But does it really change? You know, there's 3 movies, there's 3 chances. I want them to be as successful as anyone. Wonder Woman, it's great. It's awesome. It's a good movie. Justice League trailers, they've been good so far. But it feels like Batman v Superman. It feels like those trailers again. And whether there's a lighter tone or not, it's still Zack Snyder directing. And yes, Joss Whedon's coming on board. Mm-hmm. He's taking a step in for an incredibly hard situation. Like, no one should ever be put through that kind of situation. And it's like the Paul Walker thing all over again. You know, someone stepping in, but this is the director's daughter, and a horrible, horrible thing that happened. And so it's a tough situation as it is, but it's just, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Like, if Justice League is good, great. I love it. They'll do 2 different styles of movies. They can go back and forth between what they're doing. You know, Aquaman's probably going to be more in line with what Wonder Woman is as far as color and lighter tone and feel. But Batman's going to be a dark movie. Superman should definitely be a lighter movie. Flash should definitely be a lighter movie. So it's all up in the air. I mean, it's just all up in the air. We have to wait until November to really see where this universe is going and how much change they've really made. Mm-hmm. Because Justice League is going to be the one that is the tell, not Wonder Woman, because it is so far in the past. It is such a different kind of movie. So, I mean, we'll see.
And I'm going to close this out by saying, Warner Brothers, do not go forward and start betraying the tone that's already been set. Some people might not be a fan of it, but that's the tone that the DCEU is. That's what makes it so different than Marvel. Marvel's doing great with what they have. Don't try and replicate what Marvel's doing, because that's just going to kind of oversaturate the genre a little bit. And second, expect to see more of this woman in the Justice League marketing. You're going to see a lot more of her going forward. They're going to build up on this, so expect to see that.
So what do you guys think, if you had to put money on it, after Aquaman, what are the next 2 DCEU films going to be, and when will they come out?
I think they have to fast-track Batman.
Oh, no.
I think Batman has...
It was supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, well, so Aquaman is December of next year.
Yeah.
December 21st. I think Batman has to come out in May of 2019.
Yeah.
Has to. No later than May of 2019.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right.
You have Deadpool in February. You have Black Panther in February. Why would you touch February, March? Because those 2 movies are going to absolutely destroy those 2 movies.
No, I think Deadpool's like July.
Is it in summer?
Deadpool's next year. Next
2018.
It's summer release. Yeah.
Okay, well, don't touch
February.
Don't touch February because you have Black Panther.
And that movie's going to crush.
You have to go no later than May, but the problem is you have Infinity War in May.
I think you released Batman in July. The Dark Knight came out in July. Matt Reeves is playing the Ace movies usually come out in July. I think that's
Deadpool
what you do.
around there. You have Deadpool around.
I mean, nowadays movies are coming out 2 weeks apart. Like, I forget what it is.
Ragnarok's coming out on November 3rd.
Han Solo and Avengers Infinity War come out like a week apart.
Do a Wonder Woman release in June, early June.
Yeah,
it'll be fine. Yeah.
Give yourself 2 weeks of a breather. I think that's.
But yeah,
safe.
I think Batman can. I think it has to be released no later than June of 2019. No later.
Yeah. What would you say? What do you think the next 2 movies after Aquaman are going to be?
Definitely Batman, because Matt Reeves is on. The only reason why he's not working on it right now is because he has promotional coming up for. But right after War, he's going to focus on that. I mean, he's on. And the other one, let's see, Flash is getting a rewrite right now. That's been going on for about a couple months, but there's no director. I'm gonna say Gotham City Sirens.
Oh, that's right.
David Ayer, he's been working on that. He released a photo via social media of, I think it was Black Mask. So he has an idea.
What was a teaser of Black Mask?
Right,
yeah.
and unlike Suicide Squad, he's not given just 6 weeks to write the script. So I think he'll give us something a lot better. I think he learned some things. He even admitted that he wished the Joker would have been a main villain. So I think you're gonna get Gotham City Sirens, especially. You can't just have Margot Robbie and not use her. You gotta take advantage of that right now. And Batman.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say something different. I think Batman for sure, but I'm gonna just go different for argument's sake. But I'm gonna say Man of Steel 2.
I was thinking about that.
I'm gonna say after hopefully Justice League's success, people love the way they handle Superman, and then they announce Man of Steel 2. So you get Aquaman and then Batman in 2019, and then maybe Man of Steel in late 2019 or early 2020. I think that's a high possibility.
You know what? Dwayne Johnson, he could very likely be a part. I mean, I forgot about Shazam and Black Adam, but I mean, the rumors are that
Superman,
Black Adam is going to be in Man of Steel 2.
See that?
And I'm excited about that. So it could be Man of Steel 2.
Rock in there, that'd be great.
What do you guys think about? So let's go back to the original DC slate that had happened.
Do you think they should have never announced that?
Do you think a Cyborg movie is still going to happen?
It depends.
They're going to play it by ear. How do people react to the character?
If he steals it, I'm not gonna say he steals a show, but I mean, because I think it's gonna go Aquaman then Flash who steals a show. But if he's that good in Justice League, I think he'll at least there'll be talks.
I think he needs to be teamed up with someone else.
I think he appears in a Flash movie.
Or even a Batman movie.
That movie could bomb, that Cyborg, because nobody knows who Cyborg is. Like, people know who the Flash and Aquaman are, but nobody knows who Cyborg is.
But that's the brilliant thing about DC is that they're giving us the team of movies first, so you can kind of get to know these characters.
I would go watch a Cyborg movie, but I don't think it's realistic right now. They're gonna wait and see how people react. They're gonna do the Suicide Squad 2s, the Man of Steel 2s, the Batmans, the Batgirls, Gotham City Siren maybe.
Say what you will about Batman v Superman, but it got us looking forward to seeing those character solo movies. You were into Ben Affleck as Batman. You were into Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. You still wanted to see more, but I mean, now that you've seen hopefully you've seen Wonder Woman, you can go back and revisit Batman v Superman and be like, oh, okay, now I get why she's being the way she is because of what she went through. So I kind of like that move. So
yeah. All right, well that'll do it for this episode of Comic Hero Talk. It's back. We're here to talk about all superheroes, which we love doing. I want to thank Jake Berlin for joining me today. Let them know where they can find you online and all that good stuff.
Twitter, Instagram at Qui-Gon Jake. ApocalypseMovies.com every day. Check out our All Star Wars podcast, the Padawan podcast that kind of counters Comic Hero Talk. It will be on the opposite weeks. Our 2 staple shows, we're bringing it back consistently this summer. We're going to have some fun.
Definitely. Gio?
Find me on Twitter at GeoDude90. Check out ApocalypseMovies.com for editorials, reviews, and go watch Wonder Woman,
of course.
Check out our trailer reactions. We're trying to do those on a regular basis.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing trailer reactions, movie reviews. We got our Wonder Woman spoiler review. Should be up by the time you watch this video. Go check it all out. I am Jacob Bartley, the host of this show. You can find me on Twitter at @JacobBartley_ and doing a bunch of stuff on the Apocalypse Movies YouTube channel. Please subscribe. Hit that like button. Hit us up in the comment section. Let us know what you thought of any of the topics that we talked about today. What did you think about the comics, the movie news, Wonder Woman in general? Give us your thoughts, please. And as always, thank you and take care.